In social commerce, you are literally competing in the stream against everything. You're competing against my friends. You're competing against my mom. You're competing against cat videos. You're competing against the Kardashians. What are the things that brands need to get right to sell in social media? Well, first of all, they've got to understand that the entire commerce process has to be as simple as possible. Customers have been trained, of course, to go to websites and navigate a product catalog and then go to the shopping cart and click 2 buttons and that whole thing. In social commerce, all of that gets wiped away. It's literally see a thing, click a button, thing shows up at your house, and the social platform handles all of that messy middle. So if you think your e-commerce program is easy today, it's got to be incredibly easier to really succeed in social commerce. So all the obstacles, all the friction for customers has to be wiped away. Second thing is when you're trying to sell in social media, you've got to be able to make a viable case for your product and service right now. It's very different from selling on a website. Customers come to your website because they've heard of you or they use a search engine. Nobody accidentally goes to a website. In social commerce, you are literally competing in the stream against everything. You're competing against my friends. You're competing against my mom. You're competing against cat videos. You're competing against the Kardashians. If you're trying to sell me a sweater, the first 2 seconds of whatever video you're going to show me about that sweater better be massively compelling to stop the scroll and get me interested. Third thing to think about for brands trying to sell in social media is so often they are using creators and influencers as a way to get awareness for their products and services. And that makes perfect sense, right? The creators and the influencers already have an audience aggregated in those platforms. But we've got to transcend the transaction when it comes to influencer and creator relationships. So many brands treat it like a campaign. We got to sell the sweater, so let's go get 5 people with an audience and we'll have them do 1 post and we'll talk about the sweater and that's it, move on to the next one. Customers are getting wise to that. They understand when the relationship between the creator and the brand is inauthentic and is strictly a commercial, pay me to say a nice thing relationship. So here's my advice to brands trying to sell in social. Find a small number of creators and influencers that you really like and who like you, and work with them over the long term to build true, authentic relationships that consumers will actually feel are authentic. And one other thing, sometimes the best people to influence in social about your product and service actually work inside your own company. Don't neglect employee influencers.